Hello, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to episode 296 of the Jays from the Couch radio podcast, brought to you by JFtC.com. Hello, Blue Jays fans. We're back for another week of Blue Jays Talk. That's right, it's Blue Jays Talk for All, brought to you by JFtC.com. I'm your host, as always, Shaun Doyle. You can follow me on Twitter at JFtC. We've got a great episode for you. As always, you've come to expect it, and we're going to deliver. We've got a great episode, but before we get to that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Our YouTube channel is going alive and well, and it's all because of you, so thank you so much for tuning in. Or if you're the audio kind, if you're a true podcast enthusiast, you'll be finding us on Apple, Google, and everywhere else, and we do appreciate that as well. We cannot do this without you. Literally, there would be no point, so thank you so much. All right, this week we've got, I'm so excited, I'm stumbling over my words. We've got Ryan Mueller, Jays from the Couch, minor league guru, expert, whatever you want to call him. All of those words make him uncomfortable, but he's here. He's going to talk about some Blue Jays minor league stuff since the season is underway. We're going to talk to him about some key prospects and a few other things, maybe some Gabriel, Moreno, and Orelvis Martinez. We wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't, but also some others. And of course, we got our MLB Minute segment. We're going to discuss the beanballs going on around baseball, and of course we'll wrap up with our ever popular fake news segment. So to help me do all of that, I could never do it alone. I've got host of the On Feck Circle Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, the Feckless Wonder himself, Steve Feck. Good evening to you, buddy. How you doing?
Fine, Shaun. Thanks for having me on as always. In honor of Ryan being with us this week, not only do I have my Bisons cap, I even shaved nice and close.
Ooh.
Wore a non-stained shirt. I mean, I'm really invested in this one. So,
well, you're pulling out all the stops. Mueller does love a fresh shave. I have heard anyway. But we've also got back from the IL, host of Sunny Side of the Dome, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Karen Suter. Good evening, Karen.
Good evening, Shaun. Good evening, Steve. I'm back.
Everybody, not just Steve and I, but everybody who has listened to this podcast over the last couple of weeks is like, thank God. It's like when George Springer came back to the lineup, right? That's the kind of impact you bring.
Are you paying me $150 million now to do the podcast?
Ooh. Yeah, I would. However, we've reached our payroll limits because coming onto the podcast here, fresh off his newly signed contract for the 2022 season, Ryan Mueller. Good evening, Ryan.
It's been a day or two, hasn't it?
It's been a little bit. Yeah. How have you been?
I've been fantastic, living life. Yes.
Well,
staying
good.
Healthy.
That's better than the alternative, right?
Oh, for sure. I'm not coming from the dark side. That's for sure. That's
not yet anyway. That's good. Now we've got a couple of questions that were sent in before we even went on air. Butch and the folks at the North Tonawanda bar. This guy, Ryan, for if you're not aware, Butchie is he operates the bar there, and it's Yankee Central, but he faithfully puts on the Blue Jays shows, and he's got a question here for you, so we'll get to that here in a little bit. But first, we would have to, of course, start with our MLB Minute. And Ryan, I know I said I'd bring you on after that, but I got so excited to see you and bring you on that you're just going to have to sit through it, if that's okay with you.
That's okay. I'll listen and learn.
Oh, you've got high expectations. All right. Watching at home, first of all, Sarah's watching at home, and she says, yay, welcome back, Karen. That my sentiments exactly. All right, so our MLB minutes. We're going to lead off this week. We're going to talk about all of the beanballs, all the guys getting hit with Major League Baseball's. I say Major League Baseball because I guess you can tell where my MLB minute's going to go and who's to blame for all of this. But and most famously, of course, the Mets are a bunch of babies. I mean, complaining about it. And I thought it might be appropriate for us to do just a 1 minute each on this apparently really big issue in Major League Baseball. And Steve, you included it in your MLB Minute on JFtC as well. So I think it's only fair that we let you lead off here. You've got 1 minute talking about all of the hit by pitches, and go.
Well, I mean, based on media reports, there's a bunch of hit by pitches happening this year, but compared to 2019 and 2021, the last two full seasons, there are fewer hit by pitches for the same number of games at this point. And really go back to 2018, there's less than a half dozen more hit pitches this year than last year. What the problem is who's being hit. It's the Mets. It's a major market guys. It's stars like Nolan Arenado. There's not a hit by pitch problem. In fact, there really should be more hit batsmen. I mean, pitchers really should take the plate back. They've lost their stickum. They have balls that either change from inning to inning or are designed to fly out of the park. Mario Mendoza would probably hit 50 home runs in this current environment. Just everybody relax. Just because the Mets say it's a bad thing doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to dismiss anything the Mets say on a regular basis. But I'm on fire, Karen. I see your reaction. It may just get worse as time goes on. Anyway, Karen, you're up. MLB Minute on all the hit batters.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that batters being hit by pitches is part of the game in certain situations. I'm not really a fan of it, but I guess there's not a lot they can do without completely restricting pitching inside. Just I don't know. Everybody, like Steve said, kind of relax, use your judgment, and understand the situation. Like Bradley Zimmer getting hit by a pitch yesterday, nothing happened because everybody understood the situation. He's not trying to hit him with a no-hitter and a 1-run lead and 2 strikes on a guy who has maybe 1 hit all season. So yeah, just try to even though you don't like it yourself when you're being hit or your teammate is being hit, just take it for what it is. It's part of the game. Hopefully nobody gets really injured. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. All right. I'll give myself 1 minute here. I don't even know if I'll take all that. But I really believe that, first of all, it seems like there are more batters being hit than there actually are. And I thank Steve for that, because if I hadn't read that, what he wrote at Jays from the Couch, I might have thought that there were actually more batters being hit. What I think really bothers me, though, is the crying foul. And I watched the Nolan Arenado at bat, and I got to be honest, it wasn't that close. Based on his reaction, based on the benches clearing, based on all of that. I think what happens is when everybody in the ballpark knows the situation is coming, that's when everybody gets their knickers in a knot. You threw near me. Well, guess what? I mean, the plate is near you. But I think they're kind of, how do I say it? They're on high alert for those kind of things. And Nolan Arenado would have complained regardless because of the situation. And that's really what the issue. And I agree. We need to come inside more. We need more hit batters. And we've already taken away the play at second. We've already taken away the collision at the plate. At some point, anyway, where do we draw the line, I guess, really is the issue for me. But, they're Major League Baseball players, and they need to stop their whining. That's, that's just my 2 cents. All right. Now it's time. it is time to put Ryan Mueller on the hot seat and talk some minor league baseball. I'm very excited. I texted Ryan months ago saying, let me know. Just let me get you on the show. And of course, you're gracious enough to join us this evening, Ryan. So thank you. And I'm going to actually let Butchie take the first question here. Is at the bar. Ryan, settle a bar bet. Do the Jays use the Bisons roster to roster veterans and fringe prospects and send their most promising prospects at AA?
I don't think they do. You can look at some of the roster of the Bisons this year and even last year. They had top prospects in there. If this was true that they were just sending them to AA and then straight to the majors, then Vladdy and Bo, even Biggio, would never have set foot in Buffalo. They would have just made the jump. So knowing that they have like Gabriel Moreno is there currently, and I guess maybe to his point about fringe prospects, Vinny Capra, who just came up, has spent some time there. But I don't think they are. I think they're bringing in guys that could be considered fringe prospects and letting them play in Buffalo, but I don't think that this is only for fringe prospects and minor league veterans at all.
Right, and maybe outside, it may seem that way because outside of Moreno and Martinez, there's not a lot of top prospects in the Jays system to play at AAA, and maybe that's part of the perception anyway. And Butchie, he says, sorry to send the question in early. It was in early. I'm not going to lie to you, but Yankees fans are already causing trouble at the bar, so he may be tossing them while the show is live. Butchie, if you do that, if you toss a Yankees fan, buddy, I want you to put a comment here and we'll put it up on the screen and we'll give you a standing ovation. But don't do anything that's going to get the bar burnt down because the insurance company will not pay for that. So, and I can guarantee you Jays from the Couch will not either. It's just so we're clear. All right. So Ryan, we're going to jump into some questions here for you about, obviously, let's start at the top here, get the obvious out of the way, and let's talk about Moreno, the heir apparent, I assume, to Danny Jansen's job at some point, and whether or not that's 2 years or 3 years, or maybe they share it, who knows? But this guy looks like the real deal. Back in the fall, everybody was going crazy about him, and then it kind of you haven't heard much to start the season. At least I haven't. So I'd like you, Ryan, maybe just give us an update on Moreno, and I guess if and when we'll see him up at the big league club.
We'll start with the if and when. I don't think they know. Honestly, you look at Kirk seems to be doing well. Collins has had a few good at-bats that have timely hits so far. And now we know how baseball is all what have you done for me lately. So as long as those guys continue hitting, I think that this organization is preaching patience with all of their prospects. I don't think Moreno is going to be any different. How he's been doing, he seems to be doing pretty consistent. He's not walking as much as he did last year. He's not dominating the level like he did in AA before he broke his thumb. But he is hitting. It seems like most nights he's getting a solid 1 for 3, 1 for 4. So I think at this stage in the game, that's all you can really ask for him, considering how little baseball he played last season. So.
And what about on the defensive side of the ball? What are you hearing or noticing with regard to that?
I think that he still needs a little bit of polish, but he's pretty polished. Like he's a good game caller. He seems to be working more on handling pitchers than pitches, if you will. He throws really well. He does hold that running game very well. And like I said, his framing is pretty good. They're always going to be learning with that. But he seems to call a pretty good game, but he's just dealing with handling a pitching staff. I don't think he has enough experience. He needs more reps.
Right. And of course, the big question is, how is he with holding on to the pitch information on his sleeve. Does he drop those very often?
Yeah, because you're not going to have Joey Cora carrying it over for you every single time.
Oh yeah, Joey Cora, fresh off the photocopier, or Alex Cora. That's right. Yeah,
Alex Cora. Sorry, yeah, you're going to have more Kiermaiers than you're going to have Coras.
Oh yeah, for sure. Except, Cora came back and they were like, "Oh, thanks so much, but why is it so warm? It feels like it was just on the photocopier."
It's a little early for fake news.
Yeah,
Karen, I don't have very many, so I'm just, as I think of them, I'm throwing them out tonight. All right. So we should probably then, before I throw it off to Karen, because she's got somebody she wants to talk about, I wanted to ask you about Orelvis Martinez. I had him and Mourinho on my fantasy team, but used Moreno to trade. But I've held on to Martinez, and I want you, Ryan, to tell me if that's going to be a good idea in the next year or so.
To trade him?
No, to hang on to him.
Oh, yeah, I would hang on to him. He's kind of starting this year similar to how he started last year, in the sense that his average stayed a little bit low last year. He didn't start off really hot until it seemed like a month into the season, which we're at right now. And then he went on this insane tear where it felt like he was getting multiple hits and home runs every single day for an entire month. So it seems like he's going to go on one of those tears again. And I think that's kind of that streakiness is going to be there for his entire career.
And is he?
Go ahead. I was just going to say, like, one of the major issues that I'm having with him right now at this level is he just does not know how to show any patience at the plate. And I think that's something that some of these players that have amazing strike zone coverage, they need to learn, is being able to say, okay, yes, you can get to that pitch, but should you get to that pitch? Right. And that's one of the things that he's going to have to learn, or you'll want to trade him.
Right.
yeah. Right.
So then that my next question would be whether or not he's a third baseman, shortstop, second base. Like where do you see him being of the most use?
He looks good at short, but I do think that he'll outgrow it because he does have that potential to add some mass to his body. So at some point, I think he will either go to third or second.
Which happens to be not that big of a problem for the Toronto Blue Jays. In fact, it might actually work really well. All right, I'm going to throw it over to Karen because she had somebody she wanted to ask you about. Okay. So Karen, give her.
Yeah, Ryan, I wanted to ask your thoughts, about Samad Taylor. I keep hearing mostly good things about him. I had a look. Looks like he's got some pretty good numbers at Buffalo, even though he's not on the 40-man roster. What do you think of him? Is he someone who could help the Major League club? If so, do you see that being anytime soon? And what's your opinion of his defense?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm actually very surprised at how well he is doing this year. I really did peg him as that fringe prospect. I thought that last year he got lucky in the sense that he got hot for a few weeks and then he kind of played off of that hot streak to post the numbers that he did. Well, he's proven me wrong because he's doing exceptionally well this year, and it seems that he has taken his game to another level. Whether that translates into major league success is anybody's guess, but he does seem to have the potential to be a 4 or 5 tool player. Right? He shows really good speed. Like he seems to have a handle on the running game. In the field, I like him in the outfield. He plays a really mean infield as well. So it's kind of you're not really sure where they're going with him. He might just be that utility guy that plays all over the field, right? And they seem to be doing a lot of that with their players. Vinny Capra, who, you know, we saw get his first major league at bat, he plays all over the field, and he plays it well. He's a gritty player. Samad is a little bit more flashy. He does have, he's got that wow factor, I think, a little bit more than Vinny does. So it'll be exciting to see. What's that?
Like you said, he's got that wow factor. How
wow,
so?
wow.
Yeah, wow. Like how speed wise or
yeah, speed wise, and when he takes a rip, he really takes a rip.
Okay.
He can put the charge into a ball. He's got that wiry frame that you know, his swing can get a little bit long when he starts swinging for the fences, but when he stays within himself, he can hit the ball well. And to all fields. He's not just a pull hitter. So hopefully he can continue to develop that, and the Jays will bring him up. And it does seem like they'll give him a chance this year, because I think we'll see a lot of these guys get cycled through the 40 men. I don't think the Jays are really worried about losing some of these guys to the DFA, which is sad for me because I follow them so much, right? But they are fringe, right? And you have to see how they're going to do. They left Taylor unprotected, as you noted, and it could be that they kind of felt that he was, like what I said, a fringe prospect, right? But they also let Romero go, and look at what he's doing, right? So, you know, they're known to be wrong, and these guys are able to take that next step, and then, you know, so
yeah, maybe he'll be the next Espinal.
Exactly.
So, Ryan, what would that next step be then for Samad Taylor to make that jump? Whether it be, and I don't just mean the cycling through, right? Because that can be anybody. That's more based on the club need as opposed to what the player is doing. So if we leave out that, what would be the next step for him to earn a big league job?
It's just consistency at this point. All right. It's going to be very hard for him to stick at the major league level because their roster is pretty much set, right? Yeah. You know, with a contending team, if this was a few years ago, I'd say he just need a chance, right?
Right.
But right now, for him to take that next step is consistency, right? He's had his batting average up high, and now it's a little bit lower, but his walks are doing really well, so he's showing patience and maturity at the plate, and he's stealing bases. He are already in double digits, if I remember correctly. And he's showing the pop with a few home runs already. So
yeah, he's somebody I've loved forever, and I couldn't actually put my finger on why. But I'm a sucker for those speedy guys. You know, if they can put any kind of consistency together at the plate, I would take those guys in a heartbeat.
Oh, for sure.
All right, Steve, I'm going to throw it over to you here. We've got a couple of questions coming in. Rocket's on YouTube and Matt's on Facebook. We're going to fire those questions up here in a little bit. But, Steve, I wanted to give you the opportunity to pick Ryan's brain here. So have at her, bud.
Okay, well, I actually want to piggyback on what you were just talking about, Ryan. And, I mean, you do such a great job, not only of breaking down every game, but kind of telling Blue Jay fans, this is what you should be looking for or anticipating either this year or down the road. My question more is, how many guys right now in the system have a legitimate shot of having impactful at-bats and innings at the major league level? Please tell me Matt Gage is one of those guys.
Matt Gage has looked good, but again, he's coming in as a reliever, so he only has like a handful of innings. So being that this is the first time I've ever really seen him, I can't tell you it's Matt Gage.
Oh, fair enough.
But at the same time, like he's a reliever. I don't know if we all know, but like Taylor Saucedo hung it up. He was going to call it quits. And then the Jays called him and were like, you know, like come back, like give it a shot. and he came back and now he's getting major league innings, right? So this is a kid who thought that his career was done because he just wasn't getting the chance, right? So sometimes that's all they need is a chance. They all throw the ball harder than any of us, so I can't really. But like right now with the relievers at Buffalo, I like Kyle Johnston, right? He seems to be. We got him from the Cubs a few years back, I believe, and he's taken the step forward. He's really pounding the strike zone. I really like him as far as relievers go. Some of the guys in Buffalo that could take the next step. They have Nathan Lukes, who they picked up as a minor league free agent, I believe, and he's a guy that could surprise. He's got some speed, and he plays a really good outfield. So, we've seen the outfield get a little bit thin at the Jays level. That we're using guys like Bradley Zimmer, who Karen was nice and said he has one hit this year, and I think that might have been half a hit. I don't think they give half hits, but it was probably half a hit. But like Luke's, he's showing that he can actually hit the ball, and like again, this is at AAA, but why not give him a shot as well if Zimmer continues to not get hits?
Right. And to be fair to Zimmer, he has more hits at the major league level than I do for my whole career. So, there's there's that. But actually, Rocket has a question on YouTube and kind of piggybacking onto Karen's question. Curious if there are any good prospects we might be able to lean on if we need to tap on the minors as far as the bullpen is concerned, or should we just leave them be and look the trade route? So is there any, injuries or complete debacles? Is there anybody they can call
on? Well, they can always call on people. Who knows how well
Sure.
they'll do. I would definitely go the trade route if you were looking to solidify the bullpen. I think anybody that you're going to be bringing up, you don't want to trust rookie relievers, in my opinion. When you're trying to win, you want those veteran relievers who they've been there, done that. One of the guys that I've been following this year is Adrian Hernandez. He just recently came up to AAA, and this guy's got a wicked curveball. And he's already closing games out for Buffalo. So he's a guy that might take some saves away from Matt Gage. Sorry, my friend.
I saw him
Matt
play
Gage
in
might.
Ball.
Yeah, Matt Gage might now become a setup guy in Buffalo. But Adrian Hernandez, he's a guy that's showing a lot of promise. He started to show that last year. He was a starter, and then they were like, let's move him over to the bullpen. And his trajectory took off.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about Tiedemann because, I think his last outing was pretty good. So
all of them.
There you go. Right. So
yeah, all of them.
What do we have, I guess, is the better question in this young man. Is it as good as we've been seeing so far?
I don't have a lot on Ricky. I have just kind of the scouting reports that I think some of us have read. Because you don't get to see a lot of Dunedin games.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen much of him. But from the box scores and from reading stuff, he looks at 19. I think he's 19, 20 years old. I would move him up. Let's see what he does in Buffalo. He doesn't have any health concerns, so you don't have to keep him down in Dunedin around the complex. So move him up. Let's see, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe he can take some pointers from Trent Palmer, who seems to throw a no-hitter every once in a while.
It's insane. Like because I think for me, why he's caught my attention is because if you look at the Blue Jays prospect depth, they've kind of it feels like anyway, they're kind of shallow in the pitching end. And I'm wondering if that has to do with this new kind of, and I think they said it a few years ago, where it's really hard to develop top line pitching. And so it's just easier to load yourself up with position players and then trade for top level pitching. I don't know if that's how much of that is playing into things, but it seems like there's not much pitching depth, certainly not in the upper levels of the Blue Jays minor league system. So I guess, Ryan, would you agree with that assessment?
I think they're slowly starting to develop it, but they're not using high picks. I know they picked Gunnar Hoglund, who they traded away with their top pick there, but I think they're starting to hedge their bets a little bit, like diversify their portfolio. But I do agree with you. They definitely have been doing a great job of developing positional prospects and using them to acquire major league pitching talent. You know, we look at Barrios, Martin and Simeon Woods, right? And Simeon Woods wasn't even our pick, right? We got him from the Mets. So I think they're doing a good job. You're starting to see some guys, but I don't think they want to load the system up with Nate Pearsons.
Right.
All the promise and then just break your heart.
Yeah, it's tough, right? You invest that much time and whatnot into a player, and I don't know, to have it to be Nate Pearson at this point, that's a whole other kettle of fish we may not want to get into. But before we let you go, Ryan, obviously, everybody should be checking out your minor league recaps every day at Jays from the Couch, the most consistent thing on our website, and I thank you for that. I wonder, though, before I ask you my final question, I'll just throw it to Steve and Karen quickly if there's any other questions they want to fire at you here before I hit you with the last one.
Well, mine's a more generic question because, obviously, minor leagues is your thing. What has been your favorite minor league affiliate, past or present, during the course of your fandom? Not offending the current affiliates, but your absolute favorite.
I've always been a fan of Lansing. And it's a lot of it is proximity as well. Living in Ontario, I can, shoot over to Lansing relatively. I know I can get to Buffalo probably quicker, but I like Lansing. I like that it's when you get the first chance to see these young kids. I usually don't pay much attention to the prospects until they start playing full season. But this is your chance to see them, and it's a really nice stadium too. Delta Dental Stadium is a really nice stadium. So
I remember when Vladdy and Bo and everybody was in Lansing. That was when everybody was watching, right? And of course, they had Jesse Goldberg Strassler, doing the radio stuff, and that guy is top shelf as far as play-by-play goes. It's the best there is, honestly, and it's unfortunate that he couldn't. I would love to hear him call a game, and a big league game, but that's just me. So before I let you go, Ryan, I wanted to ask you, the Blue Jays are ready to win. That's clear. And they're going to have to, at some point, identify a need heading into July's trade deadline. And I guess my question is, in your mind, how much prospect capital is there to part with? And if you could just take a shot in the dark, I'm going to really put you on the spot here. Maybe give me one prospect that could be going elsewhere at that trade deadline.
I wouldn't trade Martinez or Moreno, M&Ms.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't trade either of those guys, but I think everybody else should be fair game. And I know on our chats in offline and everything that I've always said, for these organizations to have sustainable winning, you've got to hold on to your top prospects. everybody knows that you trade your number one prospect. Well, there's the number one waiting, right? Whoever, if you trade your number 1 and 2, well, now your number 3 is your number 1, right? So I think as an organization, they have to know if their number 1 is actually a number 1, or if it's just number 1 on a shallow system. And I think Moreno and Martinez are both actual number 1 prospects. So yes, they're not untouchable, but I would hold on to them, and that's how you build a winner.
Right, but after that, it's open season, eh?
Oh,
yeah.
Anyone, right? And it'll give these guys a chance to do well. Like, look at Kevin Smith. Right? Yep. He might have gotten some at bats in Toronto this year, but he wasn't going to get the playing time he's going to get in Oakland. And Zach Logue as well. He made his major league debut. Kirby Snead is now getting regular innings in Oakland. So like all these guys have had a chance to make the Blue Jays roster, but now, like I said, these guys are contenders. So you want that veteran, you want their been there, done that. And it's really hard for these young guys to make their mark.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So if somebody like Samad Taylor plays himself, continues, then all he's doing really is increasing his trade value, in the context of this Toronto Blue Jays 2022 season, right?
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Makes perfect sense.
Which is great.
Right. Because let's be real, over the last couple of years, how much trade value would we have put on a guy like that anyway, right?
Clearly nothing, because he's not on the 40, right? Right?
Exactly.
And you have so many of those guys right now. Like, Taylor, we raving about him, but if Otto Lopez was healthy and in Buffalo, then he would be another guy that we'd be raving about, because he's got great speed. He plays an amazing second base, and he's got good bat to ball and all that stuff. Like, it's, so these guys, the Jays do have these guys, but they all kind of seem like, for lack of a better term, B-level prospects. Yes, they can make an impact and everything, but they're not guys that you want on your roster if you're going to win it all.
Right. And that's what I think when you say B level, it's only in the context of the Blue Jays being, whatever you want to call them, World Series bound. I don't,
And the health of our system, because those guys could be A level prospects in a different system that are going to get every day at bats.
Right. So so I guess that's the final question right there. Is the system healthy?
Oh yeah, I think it's sustainable right now. This current management system seems to be doing a really good job at developing. Years ago, we were really good at drafting, and it seems like they're getting a lot better developing players. Before, like Alex Anthopoulos just drafted all these really talented guys to trade away, where now we seem to be seeing with some regularity players coming up that can fill gaps.
Right. And speaking of filling a gap, you did an excellent job of filling this minor league gap on our show, and I appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, we're going to get you on more regularly, because I think that part of this whole what's happening in the fan base, in my mind, is a bigger consciousness of the minor league system, not just what it's for as far as trading things away, but also that sustainable thing that there's a chance that anybody could be on their way up to make contributing at the major league level, and I think more people are aware of those names and how they're doing, right. So we're definitely going to get you back on, and if you'd like, you can stick around for our fake news segment. It's fun. I'm telling you. All right. So without further ado, Jays from the Couch proudly presents fake Blue Jays news. Steve, over to you.
Thank you, Shaun. The majority of Major League Baseball teams who have played series in Toronto this season have chosen to charter buses to take them back into the U.S. and fly to their next destination out of Buffalo, New York. U.S. COVID protocols do not require travelers re-entering the country via land border to be tested, so it makes sense, given that a positive COVID test result at an airport would require a player or staffer to quarantine for at least 2 weeks in Canada. Now, Toronto Mayor John Tory announced this morning that his office will charter the buses that take the New York Yankees to the Peace Bridge border crossing after Wednesday night's game at the Rogers Center. This has nothing to do with player vaccination status or COVID protocol compliance, said Tory. We simply do not want the Yankees in our city or province any longer than absolutely necessary. When the Blue Jays travel to Cleveland this weekend for a 4-game series versus the Guardians, all games will be broadcast locally in Cleveland on Bally Sports Ohio, one of the many regional sports networks owned by sports gambling interests in the U.S. Fans should take note of an underreported clause agreed to during the most recent CBA negotiations. In an effort to support MLB's multiple sports gaming sponsorships and new programming on MLB Network, the Office of the Commissioner has made it illegal for players to not bet on baseball. A source close to Rob Manfred has revealed that the league is working with the developers of PitchCom to not only refine the pitch calling application, but also allow players on the field to place in-game bets based on pitch selection. Over to you, Shaun.
And Pete Rose still won't be allowed anywhere near Major League Baseball.
Well, that's an a-hole, so.
Well, there's also that. All right. In other fake Blue Jays news, with another incident behind the plate involving Alejandro Kirk and a misplaced dropped pitching item that was kindly returned to the Toronto Blue Jays by opposing manager Alex Cora. The Blue Jays have decided to take their approach to the next level. See what I did there? Next level, anybody? No? All right, that's fine. Anyway, so rather than opting for the technologically advanced PitchCom, the Toronto Blue Jays are actually taking an old approach. In fact, it's thousands of years old. They are now tattooing the plan for all games on Alejandro Kirk's arm. The plan will not change, and it cannot be dropped. Sorry. Poor guy. All right. Anyway, and finally, never mind. We're done with fake Blue Jays news because it wasn't very funny anyway. So we're gonna stop the segment short because we have somebody watching at home. Sam is watching on YouTube. Sam Harvey, and he wants to know who is this new hunk on Jays from the Couch. Sam, I appreciate the comment and thank you for watching and commenting, but Karen has been here forever. Okay, you may have missed her for the last couple of weeks, but obviously talking about Ryan Mueller. Thank you, Sam, for making Ryan feel super uncomfortable. If we haven't done it before, it's definitely happened now. But I do want to thank you, all of the people watching at home and on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for chiming in with your comments and all of that stuff. And of course, we'll go around the table here, letting everybody know how you can follow our wonderful panel here. Ryan, we'll start with you, bud. How can everybody follow you and all that?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is in the comments section. I do read all of our articles at Jays from the Couch, and I will indulge any kind of conversations.
He is the bringer of convo. That's right. Ryan has no problem indulging even the craziest ideas because it's conversation. So I appreciate that. And Ryan, of course, is on Twitter at Mueller Ryan11, I believe. Am I? Yeah, see?
Yep, nailed it.
And he's tied for first place in the Steve division of the Jays from the Couch.
Which is
fantasy baseball.
It's a weaker division, just so we're clear. All right. But seriously, Ryan, in all seriousness, thank you so much for giving us your time this evening, and we'll hopefully we'll have you on regularly.
Yes, sir.
And host of Sunny Side of the Dome, Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Karen, let everybody know how they can follow you and all of that.
Yes, so I'm on Twitter, and I'm on quite a lot, actually, at Karen Sutar1, so exactly as it's spelled there. And I love to chat about things, baseball or any reasonable topic. Mutual respect is important, of course. And still recovering from something. I don't know what. I was COVID tested 3 times, all negative, thank goodness, but seems like it was a bad cold and still affecting my voice. So we'll see, but I'll be back to sunny side of the dome as soon as possible. This Thursday, the game is at 6:10. So I think I've kind of got a conflict there. Yeah.
No, Jays can push the game. We can call the Indians or the Guardians and have them push the game time back. You need to do sunny side of the dome.
I see. They're going to do that for me. Okay.
I mean,
you don't understand the pull we have.
Do we really need to have Hazel May and Ben Wagner ramble on pregame? No, we need to hear from Karen Suter and Sunny Side of the Dome. 6 p.m. Eastern Time Thursdays, and forget about all the other crap. We know what they're going to say. We need to know what you're going to say, Karen. So.
There you go. I couldn't plug your show any better than that. So, Steve, your turn. 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesdays, the On Feck Circle. What do you got for us?
Okay. Well, first, I should point out that, Ryan's the hunk. I am the pile, most Blue Jays fans would say. You can follow me on Twitter at FecklessWonder. You can send me hate mail at fecklesswonder@jaysfromthecouch.com. Tomorrow night's On Feck Circle is either going to be one of the most brilliant Blue Jays related podcast shows ever, or it's going to be one of the worst. Honestly, I have a concept. I have no idea if I can actually pull it off, but it'll be worth tuning in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
Man, you've just got all of the promo stuff bang on. Like there's no way anybody's going to want to miss your show now. It's perfect. All right, and that brings us to the end of episode 296 of the Jays from the Couch radio podcast. Remember, thank you for tuning in, and you can tune in every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, to watch the live show. Put your comments right up here on the screen and participate in the show as well. And, of course, on Apple, Google, Spotify, the audio version, anywhere you find podcasts. And as well, don't forget, we are still running our ALS campaign at Jays from the Couch. You can go to the sidebar at jaysfromthecouch.com and click directly on the link to make a tax-deductible donation. Or if you want something for your money, if you're one of those people, I don't blame you because I get stuff for my money. I work hard for my money. And so, yeah, you know how that goes. But we have a Redbubble shop as well where you can purchase Jays from the Couch merchandise, and 100% of the profits will go directly to the ALS Society of Canada so that one day we can beat this disease. So I want to thank everybody in advance for considering that. And oh my goodness, Ryan, if it wasn't bad before, Sam says, call the plumber because those pipes are bursting. See, we're going to get you back on the YouTube show just so that we can get our audience way up there because...
I mean, do we have to change our kids-friendly rating now for the podcast? I mean, where is this going?
Oh my. Well, now I'm getting a little warm. All right, I think we might want to end this right here, right now, so that
we're going to get into trouble. So yeah.
So Sam can go take a cold shower. So for Sam, for Ryan, for Karen, for Steve, this is Shaun Doyle. You can follow me on Twitter at Doyle JFtC. Hoping life gives you a juicy fastball down the middle, and you don't miss it. Take care, everybody.